Today is March 30th, 1867, and we are reporting live from New York. Secretary of State William Seward has just made one of the largest purchases in American history.
Seward has purchased the territory of Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. According to our math, that is 2 cents per acre.
This adds 663,300 square miles to the U.S. Critics are calling this purchase Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox.
Time will tell whether this purchase will yield valuable natural resources.
Recently, in world news, the cry for annexation of Hawaii grows. Sanford B. Dole, a major American-born sugar planter in Hawaii, is heading the movement better known as the Annexation Club.
This push for annexation has come after Congressman McKinley pushed the McKinley Tariff through Congress. This tariff taxes importing goods in order to protect American manufacturing efforts.
This movement is being met with extreme opposition from Hawaiian leader Queen Lily. Queen Lily has ruled over Hawaii for many years, including the time period when many Pacific islands were becoming protectorates of the U.S.
We will be watching this story closely as the political landscape unfolds.
Today, on February 4, 1899, Filipino nationalists attacked U.S. forces deployed in the Philippines. This comes just before the U.S. Senate prepares to ratify the Treaty of Paris between Spain and America.
The Treaty of Paris arranged Cuban freedom, turnover of Guam and Puerto Rico, and the sale of the Philippines for $20 million. To provide you with some background, the U.S. broke the armistice created by Spain in early April 1898 and declared war on Spain on April 21, 1898.
As Spanish and U.S. tensions soared in the Caribbean, Commodore George Dewey was sent from Hong Kong to the Philippines to attack the Spanish fleet. This attack was an attempt to achieve command of the sea and to preclude reinforcement and resupply of the Spanish naval forces.
Hopefully, a treaty will follow quickly. Today, September 6, 1899, John Hay introduced the idea of the open door policy for China. This policy gives the rights for all nations equal access to trade in China and also guaranteed that China would not be taken over by any foreign power. Finally, the open door policy enacts equal privileges for all countries trading with China and proposed that imperialist nations share their trading.
Breaking news. This just in. Today, in May 1902, a volcano has erupted in Nicaragua. This presents an enormous question for U.S. legislation. Will the proposed Nicaraguan canal still be built? Many claim that Nicaragua is unsafe due to the 30,000 casualties caused by the eruption. We will keep you updated as reports come in.
Today, on May 22, 1903, the Platt Amendment was signed. This amendment comes 5 years after the explosion of the USS Maine. The USS Maine, part of America's Great White Fleet, has been docked in Havana Harbor before it exploded. At the time, many journalists blamed Spain for the explosion, fast-tracking a declaration of war against Spain. Today, the Teller Amendment assures the Cuban citizens that the U.S. has no intention of taking any part of Cuba. Additionally, the new Platt Amendment guarantees that Cuba will not engage in a relationship with any foreign powers, that Cuba will not acquire a large debt, and that the U.S. can use Guantanamo Bay as a naval and coaling station. As a result of the volcanic explosion in Nicaragua, Theodore Roosevelt's ideas to build a canal through Latin America were sidetracked. In 1850, the U.S. and Britain signed an agreement for construction, but as of November 18, 1901, President Teddy Roosevelt signed the Hay-Pauncefote Treaty, which stated the U.S. would build the Panama Canal alone. After acquiring permission from Colombia, construction began. In the year 1913, the United States began paying rent to Panama for $250,000 a year. Finally, after 10 years, the Panama Canal opened today, August 15, 1914.
Just last night, President Teddy Roosevelt was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his part in the Treaty of Portsmouth. The Treaty of Portsmouth, signed on September 5, 1905, ended the Russo-Japanese War. Both countries, Russia and Japan, had been fighting over Korea. Japan had successfully destroyed the Russian naval fleet and won the land battles at Korea and Manchuria. However, after losing men and a significant amount of money, Japan secretly arranged for President Roosevelt to negotiate a treaty on neutral grounds in Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in Kittery, Maine. The terms of the treaty included Japan receiving half of the Sakhalin Island off of Siberia and Manchuria and Korea.
Today, September 15, 1915, the United States ratified the Haitian-American Treaty. This treaty ended the U.S. Marines' invasion of Haiti in order to create economic and political stability.
One result of this treaty is the Haitian Gendarmerie, which is a military force which consists of U.S. and Haitian citizens and is under the command of the U.S. Marines. Additionally, the U.S. has gained complete control over finances and gained the right to control foreign influence in Haiti.
Finally, the U.S. manipulated the 1915 presidential elections by forcing the election of a pro-American president. In an effort to quell Haitian unrest, this U.S. treaty has done quite the opposite. Under the Mexican dictator Diaz, U.S. companies invested in Mexico, but in February 1913, General Huerta forced Diaz to resign and he took office. Wilson refused to recognize Huerta's government and American assets were in trouble. Wilson took the precautions of being extremely careful and waited for Huerta to mess up. Huerta did mess up, in fact, and arrested American seamen in Tampico, but quickly released them. As a result, Wilson used this incident to intervene by sending troops to Veracruz, and about 200 Mexicans were killed. In 1915, Huerta's leadership collapsed and a new leader took charge. As of today, March 6, 1916, rebels under Pancho Villa came across the Mexican-American border and shot 18 Americans. As war with Mexico grows, we will keep you posted on this story. From 1916 to 1924, the U.S. has occupied the Dominican Republic partly because of an unstable political situation that prevents the Dominican from paying back debts owed to foreign countries and the United States. The U.S. believes that this nation is to be watched closely, and Teddy Roosevelt even took charge of the country's import duties. When Teddy Roosevelt's term ended, President Taft established U.S. businesses and ordered troops to the country. Many citizens of the Dominican Republic felt relentless to the U.S. As tensions grow, we will keep you informed on any new information.
Today, in 1917, the Jones Act has been passed. This act gives full territorial status to Puerto Rico. This is a very large step in American imperialism. Previously, Puerto Rico was under the control of America, labeled as an, quote, unincorporated territory under the Four-Acre Act. The Four-Acre Act also placed taxes on imported goods. Following, in 1901 to 1903, were the Insular Cases, a group of legal cases that determined that the tax laid by the Four-Acre Act was legal, and that constitutional rights of American citizens did not automatically extend to Puerto Rican citizens. Now, under the Jones Act, the import tax has been removed off of imported goods, and citizens can elect their own legislation and enforce laws.